Welcome to episode 372 of the AM/PM podcast. Hope everybody's having a great Q4. This week, I've got an amazing guest for you, Amy Weiss. She's one of the $1 Billion Dream 100s. This is a great show because we're talking about how she's maintained one of her products for over 7 years on Amazon and it's still growing strong. About that product lifecycle, we talk about using AI to develop ideas and products. We talk about some of the events that she does, and just a lot of really cool, actionable stuff in this episode. I hope you really enjoy it. And don't forget, make sure you sign up for the $1 Billion Sellers newsletter, $1billionsellers.com. It's totally free. Comes out every Monday and Thursday. Enjoy this episode with Amy. I think you're going to learn quite a bit of stuff and hear some things you haven't heard before.
Welcome to the AM/PM podcast. Welcome to the AM/PM podcast, where we explore opportunities in e-commerce.
We dream big and we discover what's working right now.
Plus, this is the podcast where money never sleeps, working around the clock in the AM and the PM.
Are you ready for today's episode?
I said, are you ready? Let's do this. Here's your host, Kevin King. Kevin King.
Look who it is, Amy Weiss on the AM/PM podcast. Actually, the first $1 Billion Dream 100 person to actually come on the podcast since I started that. Can you believe it? Look who is here in the house today, the famous Amy Weiss. How are you doing?
That's amazing, Kevin. I can't believe that. First of all, I'm honored to be in the $1 Billion Dream 100. And I'm honored to be here on the AM/PM podcast. This podcast is legendary in the space. So, and I've been on a lot of podcasts, but I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is one of the old school OG podcasts that Manny Coates started it back when he started his selling journey before there was a Helium 10. Started, I think, in December 2014, maybe it was, or 2015, one of those.
I remember listening to this podcast back when Manny was still doing it.
I started listening on like the 6th or 7th episode. And then he did it for a while. It's actually the podcast that got me my start in this whole teaching, podcasting, speaking thing, because I was just a seller, keeping my head down. And then for those of you who don't know, what we mentioned the $1 Billion Dream 100, that's something that I started in my newsletter back in August when I started my newsletter. And every Thursday, the way the newsletter is set up, it's totally free, $1billionsellers.com. But the way it's set up is every Monday is kind of more technical and a little bit more hacky, I guess, not hacky, but strategic and implementable. And then the Thursday one, I incorporate some of my travel, trying to inspire everybody to travel. So I have all these videos that I had edited when I was doing extensive travels. They've just been sitting. I'm like, it's great content. So try to inspire some people. And then I announce someone in the industry that gets inducted into the $1 Billion Dream 100. And there's a lot of stuff coming for that. You guys will see. There's going to be a lot of benefits and a lot of stuff coming around that. I just haven't announced it yet. But these are the people that I believe they're in no particular order. You were one of the first ones to be on there, but it's in no particular order. Someone you may say, well, why am I the 98th one to be introduced? Does that mean I'm number 98? It's like, no. It's just random. We literally draw them out of a hat. We have the list, and then we draw them out of a hat. And it's meant to be like, these are the people in the industry you need to follow. These are the people that are legit. There's so many gurus, so many YouTube people, so many Facebook people that are just full of shit. And these are the people that I vouch for, that like follow them, do what they say, listen to them, go to their events. And so that's why I've done this. It's some of them may have spoken at one of my events. Some of them haven't. I mean, you haven't spoken at one, you spoke at a virtual event, but you haven't spoken at the in-person. You're doing that in May in Hawaii, but that's what it's meant to be. I'm trying to recognize the best of the best and who people should pay attention to, and you're one of them. So I'm glad to have you. It's my honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been an incredible journey, and it's so cool to hear that your journey on this with this podcast has come full circle. I feel that way. I don't know. This industry just surprises me so much. I just started this I invented a product. I started my own brand, and that's where I was focused. I wasn't focused on doing what I do now. I was just focused on head down, get this product to market. But at the same time, I wanted to share because there wasn't a lot of people out there that were doing unique, invented products. And so I thought kind of the only path that I knew about was Shark Tank. And I was calling all these design firms and stuff like that. And there were so many scammers, it was like $30,000 to turn your drawing into another drawing. And that really just made me angry. And I was like, it can't be that hard. People bring products to market all the time. And so I just started sharing. And I guess that's what happens, like Kevin, you said, you called them out and said, no, that's not actually how it works. Like I've been there, I've been through this. And that's, kind of what fueled me. And I'm surprised every day at how much this industry has blessed me. And I hope that I can just continue to give back at least, just a fraction of what the industry has given me. It's been amazing.
You started with your product and it's in the pet space, right? That's the one you're talking about. You started with that in 2015? Is that about right?
2017. I started selling on Amazon in 2007, but it was just a hobby then. I was just like flipping my textbooks and, back then it was merchant fulfilled only. There wasn't FBA yet. And I was in the Air Force at the time. And so I knew when I went to invent my product, I knew I could launch it on Amazon, but I hadn't thought of Amazon as a major channel, as a major business, yet until 2017 when I came up with this product idea, even though I had been selling as a hobby all those years.
Now, the product that you started in the pet space, you're still selling that today. So you're not one of these teacher/event organizers that's not selling. You still have your hands down in the grass and getting dirty, right?
Yeah, not only that, my product is made in the USA and I still kit every single one.
Yeah, you just told. I'm looking here in the video. You said I have a living room that's a prep center. In my living room, I'm looking back there. I was like, yeah, it doesn't look like a living room with lamps and a TV. I can't make out anything. I was like, yeah, it looks like I see a tape gun or something back there.
Yeah, we have a warehouse that's basically like across the street from our house. It has a loading dock. We have 4 40-foot trailers.
Oh, wow.
And we literally, because our manufacturer in the US, talking about sourcing from the US, it's different if you're doing supplements or something like that from the US, but my product is plastic injection molded. And I can't source it from China because it's too large. So it would cost me more to actually source it from China than it does for me to source it from the US.
Well, it might be cheaper to manufacture in China by the time, because shipping from China by sea is not based on weight, it's based on volume, versus airplanes are both. So if it's big volume, so you maybe can do it for half the price in China, but by the time you factor in landing costs, it's more. I just want to explain that to people. Why would that be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing is, if you look at most like big totes, like the big plastic totes, big garbage cans, anything like that, they're all made in the USA. So that was a learning experience for me, and my manufacturer is in the US, and just finding a manufacturer in the US to do plastic injection molding for you, I had to basically put together a whole pitch. I had to pitch my business to them. I had to forecast everything. It was a completely different path to market and, road than a lot of people take when they're just going straight to China. Now I have other products that are made in China, and that's a different process, right? But yes, my product is made in the USA, so I do have to, I still kit every single one of them. And we do it as a family. Like, we're out there sometimes in the hot Texas sun, like, putting these things together, shipping them to Amazon. And so, I posted a picture in my mastermind group the other day of me, next to the truck. I'm showing people, this is what a 40-foot trailer looks like. This is what a 20-foot trailer looks like. This is how you have to prep a pallet, And so all of that, I'm in there every day. I'm not just a seller that gets my product from China and it goes straight to Amazon. I wish, because kitting is kind of a pain. But yeah, I'm still kitting every single one of my products.
I feel you. I mean, I use 3PLs for a lot of my stuff. So I never really touch a lot of it. I used to when I first started. I had pallets dumped on my driveway. I lived in Buda, Texas, in the suburbs, and be 12 pallets dumped on my driveway, and I would bring them into the garage or do whatever, but and sort them out, and so usually try to turn them around, get some of them out that day, into the UPS. But now I have a calendar business I talk about sometimes. It's seasonal, so I don't need a permanent warehouse. I live downtown Austin in a high rise. We have garages here for cars, but I have two of them. One of them is storage for extra stuff, and the other one is set up as a shipping station center. So I have a computer down there. I have a prep desk. I have all the boxes. I have everything. It's set up as a ship. There's no internet down there, so I have to use my phone as a hotspot and connect the computer to it to get to ship station and all that. But then I also have a warehouse out in the suburbs where it's cheaper. It's a 10 by 30, I think it is, that I get for like 4 months of the year. I just actually got it. It's from like September to December is when I usually get it. And I have pallets delivered there of these calendars, and they just back the truck in. And then I'm out there slaving away in the summer or the heat of September of Texas, sometimes labeling these myself. I'm still doing it. People are like, why don't you just hire someone to do that? It's like, it's not worth it, because, sometimes I had one time where the pallets broke, and I'm like, I'm not carrying 850-pound boxes down the little place into the deal. So I went to Home Depot and got some of those day workers. Like, you guys come do this. But the rest of the time I'm doing it, and I like it because it's a change of pace. It gets me out of the office. It gives me some exercise. It's a change of pace. It's not hard. It's just a nice, and I'm usually brainstorming while I'm doing it, about something. I'm getting my mind off of other things. But I remember one year, speaking of the heat, the reason I'm bringing this up is about 3 years ago. It was during COVID, actually. And the truck was coming, the local delivery truck was coming to bring them, because I print these in South Korea. So they're coming to bring all the pallets. And this was a different company that they had used this time, not the normal one. The guys come, there's two guys get out of the truck, and one guy's big old heavy set guy. I mean, he must have weighed 400 pounds, like just sweating profusely, and just like, and this is July. They came early that year. So it's early July. And my wife was sitting in the car in the air conditioning with the dog and just watched. She'd been down there with me. She's like, I'm not getting out. You go out and help these guys or supervise them, but make sure you wear your mask because it's COVID. So I'm out there in the heat, and eventually I took my mask off. I'm like, the heck with this. I don't care. And she got so mad at me. But these guys, one of them, he's like sweating like crazy. And we'd bought a bunch of bottles of water and having to unload all these pallets. And one point I asked him, dude, you should go back in the truck. Just take a break. We got this. And the other two of us, we'll get this. He's like, no, I'm good. I said, he said, I just came in. I was actually in the hospital yesterday. I'm like, what? Said, yeah, I got out like 4 o'clock this morning. I had a heart issue. I'm wearing a freaking heart monitor right now. He pulls up his shirt and there's like a string and all kind. I'm like, dude, get the freak in that truck. So it's like, I feel you out there doing this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. But I am like you. I really I enjoy mindless work, because then I'll listen to a book, whatever. And it's exercise as well.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit of I love the gym. I like to lift weights. I like to do high intensity interval training, that kind of stuff. But this is just, like you said, it's a change of pace. So I do enjoy it. And, we've run the numbers of outsourcing to a prep center and storage with a prep center, and it is expensive. Like it would cut into our profits a lot versus just hiring a few people to come and prep. Like we can prep 100 units in an hour, Yeah. So it's really, when we look at, how much a prep center wanted to charge me to basically, we put a little sifter in there, and we put a bin, some pulls, and and our insert, right? Our information book. And then we tape the box shut, right? And a prep center was going to charge me like $2 a unit. If your supplier does it for you, it's usually like 20 to 50 cents a unit, depending on, how big your product is, what everything, But, I know that from like sourcing in China and helping my clients source in China, like the prep cost. So I just couldn't justify paying a prep center $2 per unit. And then they want an additional like 50 cents just to put the label, the shipping label on it. It's like,
Yeah.
you really need 50 cents to put a label on it? Like, that's going to take you 2 seconds. So it really adds up quickly. And then
It makes you
have to
wonder
pay
how
for.
much markup they have in the actual product. If it's 50 cents to put
Yeah.
a label on, what's the real markup in these
And
products?
Kevin, I just shut it down. I used to run a return service for Amazon sellers because a lot of overseas sellers, they sell, in the US and they have no way to process their returns.
Yeah.
They only can destroy them. And so what they're doing is they're destroying all these returns and they have no idea if they just launched a product. They have no idea if there's a quality control issue or anything like that. So I had a concierge return service where basically I was charging $10 per product to receive your product, to take pictures, to tell you what was going on. And the pictures could be used for safety claims as well, so you could get your money back, right? But the idea wasn't for you to stay with me for 5 years and have me process your returns, right? The idea was you just launched a product, you have no idea, you're kind of blind. You don't want to just destroy your returns. I mean, 90% of the ones we get there's nothing wrong with them. They haven't even been opened, and all those returns are being destroyed from all these overseas sellers, right? So, we're running this and we shut it down because, we're moving and stuff like that and getting out of our warehouse. And the sellers that were with us in our return service, they ran the costs of, we thought our return service was really expensive because we're like, it's concierge, we're taking pictures of everything. We're, really processing these returns. But every other return service, the 3PL return services, all that kind of thing, every one of my clients said, it's more expensive to move out of your service than it is to stay in. I thought we were expensive. We're not, because by the time they add in all the other fees that are charged, it was more expensive. And I'm not picking on 3PLs. They've got businesses to run. They've got to have a scalable business. They've got to pay for insurance and facilities and workers. So I'm not picking on 3PLs, but I thought at $10 a return that my return service was expensive, and it turns out it's not. It's actually more expensive if you're using another service. Now, if you have enough margin, it might be worth it for you to process your returns. But man, have I learned a lot about returns doing that service.
So this product, though, that you said y'all can do 100 of them in a couple hours, you've been selling it for 7-8 years now?
2018. Mm-hmm.
That's a long time on Amazon. I mean, most products have a shelf life of a couple years, and either because just it fades or competition comes in, they lose rank or whatever. What has been the key for you? It's a good learning lesson for people. Like, how have you maintained that for 7 years and it's still going strong? I'm assuming you probably have quite a few reviews and everything by now, maybe. But what can someone take away from? How do you make your product last that long?
Yeah, so it's completely unique. It's a utility patented product, and nobody else solves the same problem that my product solves. So if I ran out of...
They can't because of the patent, right? So people can't really... They can try to knock you off, but...
They could try, yeah. It is a utility patent, so it is harder to get around, right? A design patent, they could just change the shape of it would be fine. But my utility patent actually is my claim for my utility patent is I own the patent on sifting anything. So whether it's a kitchen product or whatever, right? Sifting or straining anything with a space underneath, a holding bin underneath. So you've seen those kitchen strainers where they have a bowl right directly underneath them. Mm-hmm. They're not infringing my patent because there's no space on that bowl, right?
Okay.
But if they had like a bucket underneath and the sifter or the strainer was up at the top and then there was space for that water or whatever to come through and build up in there, then that would be an infringement of my patent. So it really is, this patent covers, multiple categories. But the thing is, patenting alone really doesn't protect you, right? It really is about solving a real problem for the customer and really doing something better than other solutions on the market. It's like when we think about, I always call it the Shark Tank test. In my program, I call it the Shark Tank test. Could you pitch it on Shark Tank and compare to, you always have competition. I have competition. I have a litter box cleaner, right? My competition, even though nobody else has created or invented a litter box cleaner, so I could say, a lot of inventors say, I don't have any competition. Nobody has anything like me. That's true. I started a new category. Nobody has anything like me, but I still have competition. I have scoops that you can buy for 99 cents, right? I have supposedly self-cleaning litter boxes, which I know don't work because I am my customer, right? We have all but those are my competition. You know, you have sifting litter boxes that also don't work. They're gross. You know, so all of that is my competition. So how your original question was, how do you manage the life cycle of a product? Well, it still works better than anything else out there. And, you know, it allows you to do the job of cleaning the litter box, which is a major pain. You know, it's one of the worst things. Like we had a famous lady with a famous, ragdoll cat. She had a famous Instagram page for her ragdoll cat, all these followers, and she did a video using my product. She had been using it for 2 years, and she did a video, and she said, "I love this thing. It's the only reason I still have cats."
Wow.
She honestly said that.
This is just without, she just did it on her own.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had bloggers do it, you know, and now I can even turn off my PPC and my sales don't change because I'm highly rated in multiple categories on page 1. I also sold through like Stack Commerce and some of the other like media agencies. And so my product has been mentioned in gift lists, all kinds of things. So my web footprint is really high, right? And that just is a snowball effect. So yeah, it's been really good. And even to this day, my tacos is like 5%. I mean, I sell more organically than I do with PPC, and PPC
What's the selling price on it?
It's $50 a unit.
$50.
Yeah. And
Do you hope to keep building this, or because it's a passion and you have cats and stuff, or do you want to actually sell it and exit it at some point?
I do want to exit it. I'm actually in the process of listing it now. So, you know, I hope to sell it because I kind of want a fresh start, right? You make a lot of stupid mistakes when you first start a brand. My life has changed a little bit, you know, and I have a lot of passions that I want to build brands around now. And so it's not that I don't still love cats. It's not that I don't, you know, love what I've built. It's
ready for the next challenge.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a great opportunity. It still has so much life cycle left in it. And, you know, I have not scaled into retail. Well, I'm in small brick and mortar retailers. But I have gotten offers. Like I got a purchase order from Walmart. They wanted to take it internationally, and they gave me an end cap at no cost because they have nothing like that in their pet aisle. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't do it, Kevin, because I'm still kitting every product, and I didn't have the staff at the time. You know, so working with my supplier, trying to like figure out how can we streamline this, where we could scale it to a major retailer. So there's still so much opportunity. Any one of the big brands could pick this up and just crush it, you know? So I'm excited to sell it at a time when the sales are good, the profitability is good, the advertising cost is low. You know, it's a great opportunity for someone, and it also will open the door for me for what's next.
Are there any other products in this brand, or is that the only one?
Yeah, we do have 4 different products in the brand. Yeah.
This one is the money winner though. The others just supplement, or some of those do pretty good too?
The others do pretty good too. I have a 14x multiplier on my Forerunners that I source from China, and those do really well. My PPC on those is also low. When I said I have a tacos of 5%, that's across all of my products. So yeah, I have a very simple brand, different styles and colors. So I think we have 12 SKUs total, but it's very easy to manage. And yeah, I've really enjoyed growing it over the years. I've learned so much. I've made so many stupid mistakes, but I learned from them. There's so many things that I would do differently. But at the same time, I'm really proud of what I've built. Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations there. So I know one of the things that you're big into right now is AI. I know you did the AI. You put on your own AI summit back in I think it was August. I think it was. And I'm sure you're probably going to be doing another one at some point because it looks like that one was a big success. But I know you were at the Alibaba show back in September talking about AI, and I know you've been on a couple other stages. I think SellerCon and stuff talking about how AI is really cool when it comes to product development. Just like what you're saying, this you invented this thing and you got it IP on it and everything. Can you? A lot of people know about AI as it can help me optimize my listing, read my reviews, do the standard kind of stuff. But you're using it in a little bit more of a unique way than a lot of people. Can you talk about that a little bit when it comes to product development?
Yeah, of course, I would love to. If you, hopefully, you don't want me to shut up in the next 3 hours because you know me, Kevin, I can go on and on about this. Yeah, I have a little bit of a tech background, so I'm a little bit of a nerd, and I really am a sponge. I love to learn. So when I saw that people were having these cool conversations with ChatGPT, I immediately, and this is kind of a good lesson for everybody. And I learned this also from, I'm a lot like Tony Robbins. He's one of my favorite mentors, right? And he says the key to mastery is actually learning from the best and repetition and just completely immersing yourself in whatever you're trying to learn. And so for me, that's what I do. Whenever I see a squirrel that I want to go chase, and in this case, it was ChatGPT, I was like, wow, this is really neat. What is this about? So I started joining all these Facebook groups where people were talking about what they were doing with ChatGPT and all of that. And I saw this blog post by one of the people in one of the groups that I was in. And this guy, Viral Spinu was his name. He wrote this blog about how he created an innovative dairy brand with ChatGPT and Midjourney, which is like an AI image generation tool. And so he wrote this blog and he showed exactly what his prompts were. And he showed the pictures of the mock-ups, the visualizations that he created. And for me, I went to this blog and he was just having a conversation. He was just having a conversation with ChatGPT. Hey, I want to start a premium dairy brand. My products are going to be sold in these type of outlets. This is what I'm going for. This is my customer. Help me design a logo. And all he did, and this was my big aha moment. So ChatGPT came back with this logo concept. All he did was take ChatGPT's output and copy and paste it into Midjourney. And Midjourney came out with these awesome logo concepts. And then he took it the next step. He was like, okay, all right, now design a website for me. And, then he asked it designed a website. And then I was like, oh my gosh, Midjourney can do websites too? Like, this is crazy. I spent so much time. I have 7 websites, Kevin. I spend so much time working with my designers and mocking up landing pages and all this stuff and saying, oh, colors, these things, that things, helping people develop brands. And here, in one conversation, in a few minutes, he has a website mock-up that looks like nothing I've ever seen before. And I was like, wow, the potential. And then he was like, okay, think of something that's let's do a totally out of the box, out of the ordinary website. And ChatGPT came up with these rainbow colors and these just crazy, looking cows and, all this stuff for this dairy brand. And the mock-ups that Midjourney did were just insane. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. And then he did storefronts. He was like, I want to do a store in the mall, like design me a store. And he copied and pasted that. And so I took that and I thought about this product. So, my cat product, it sifts poop for cats, right? Like it makes cleaning the litter box really easy. And I've been working on a product for dogs, Kevin, for years. I wanted to create a product for dogs that would make picking up poo easy. And I was thinking of all these ideas, like, they have the incinerator toilets, where you just push a button and the poo be gone, right? And I was thinking, over the years, I just kept working on this idea and thinking about it and like, okay, maybe I could build like a mini version of the incinerator, and I can make like a pooper scooper that you take with you when you walk your dog, right? And you put the poop inside the canister, and then you bring it home and you put it inside of a machine and you push a button and it incinerates it, right? I was thinking of all these things, but I didn't have the know-how. I'm not an electrical engineer. I didn't want to invest in somebody else designing that because I really didn't have the whole concept down. I just had some ideas, some rough ideas, right? So when I saw this blog post, I had this aha moment of, oh my gosh, every idea I've ever had could be developed. And so from my phone, I learned how to use Midjourney, and I started kind of playing with it and studying. I looked up all these blogs, and from my phone, I just used Viral as example and ideas, and I started having a conversation with ChatGPT about this problem that I wanted to solve for dog people. And we developed together, me and ChatGPT, we developed 2 different really cool products for dog owners. One was something that turns your dog doo-doo into fertilizer that could be sold, reused, used in your garden, whatever. And another one was actually a robotic picker-upper for your yard. And so it was so cool. I even wrote up government contracts to sell the fertilizer version to the government, because I was like, hey, ChatGPT, like, this is cool, but you want me to get it put in parks, but I don't know how to sell that to the government. How could I sell it to the government? It wrote up this whole thing. And let me tell you, I worked for the government for 18 years. It was a legit government contract. So really, Kevin, what was so cool about this is something, I've helped so many sellers now develop unique products. I've developed my own unique products. And I realized what a game changer this was, and how from my phone in a few hours, I could develop something that I'd worked on for years on my own and really couldn't get there, And then the ability to be able to visualize it. Visualizing your wildest dreams from an entrepreneur standpoint. I'm big on mindset. I'm big on, really visualizing your dreams, bringing those things into reality through visualization. I'm big on making dream boards, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Imagine what you can visualize now. Imagine the designs you can put on your products, and it's really as simple as a copy and paste. And I think a lot of people don't get into AI because they're afraid. They're waiting for some roadmap. They're waiting for someone to tell them, yeah, this is exactly what you have to do. Here's your prompt library. You don't need a prompt library, people. It's like you're best friends with a genius. You can just have a conversation in your language, and then you can paste that conversation into another type of AI, which is also smart enough to interpret it, and it'll visualize it for you.
But how much creativity do you need to have in doing that? I mean, AI, there's a lot of people that say, if you're a photographer, you're out of business now with AI. And or you're an artist, and a lot of artists and photographers are like, no, this is cool, because now I know all the f-stops. I know all the camera lenses. I know all this stuff. I know how to tell it to do an abstract painting with a blah, blah, blah shadow and a this and that and the other. I can now create exactly what I want to create. So how much, though, of it is, maybe that's something that scares people, is like, yeah, they could have this conversation. Like you said, maybe they're scared initially because they think they need to have technical skills, versus what you're saying is, no, just have a conversation. But what if what type of creativity does it still take to do that? Well, you have to have that conversation, and it's a creative conversation. And some people may have trouble with that. What would you say or recommend to them?
I would say to keep it simple. So if you're of the belief we're all creators, we are either creating or we're dying. And a lot of people say, I'm not creative, and I say, take the T's out of your language, because you are a creator. All of us are. But either way, keep it simple. Something I learned in the military: keep it simple. So if you're not creative, you're saying you're not creative, if you are worried that, oh, I don't even know what to say, I don't even know how to imagine that, I don't even know where to start. Well, ask it. Just start, right? When it comes to AI image generation, you're right. The photographers of the world, they know already what lens type to say inside of that prompt. They can make some really cool stuff. But just like they had the ability to learn all those things about photography, you also have that ability. You have the ability to immerse yourself and learn anything you want to learn. And the information is at your fingertips. And I would argue you can learn it so much faster now that AI is on your side. There are now plugins that can help you with prompting image generation AI. There are, I even chat with my AI and do language lessons. I'm like, okay, we're doing Spanish lessons together. Come up with Spanish class for me today. Make it fun, make it engaging, right? I use my AI to help me with my meal planning. It used to take me hours to meal plan. I would go through all my recipes and everything and try to, pick them out. And then I would manually put that in the shop, the HEB app, and like get it, added to my cart. Now I literally just ask my AI, I say, okay, I'm on this kind of diet. My kids eat like this. They're with me for dinner. It's just me for breakfast and lunch. I need a 7-day meal plan and a shopping list and recipes. I want them to be easy. I want to use these kind of foods. And literally in minutes, I have an amazing meal plan. I have an amazing shopping list. And I didn't have to do any of that hard stuff, right? The stuff I used to do, like going through recipes, everything like that. So I would just encourage people that you have to start somewhere. We see the same thing in entrepreneurship where it's like, I'm sure you can see it in people, Kevin, when you talk to them. I can tell with clients, if they're coming to me looking for the exact formula, they're like, oh, I just give me a product. Just give me a product that's going to sell. And I'm like, honey, if it were that easy, we'd all be billionaires. Yep. Okay. Like, if company promises you that they can find you this perfect selling product and they're going to make you a millionaire, they're going to make themselves a millionaire by the money that you're giving them. Right. So the thing is, you can be afraid of it, but you're not going to get anywhere. So yes, a photographer is going to do a much better job of creating an AI generated image, but you also have the capability to learn and start. And the AI is smart enough to kind of lead you. So sometimes I find the simpler my prompts are, the better off my images turn out. And so that would be my advice there.
So for your dog thing, taking that as an example, you have all the ideas, you talk to it, it comes up, let's say it comes up with 100 different designs for this. You're like, this is pretty cool. You knock out 50 of them because that's not what I wanted. That sucks. Then you have the other 50 and you're like, okay, which one of these should I do? What do you do then? Do you go and you poll your customers? Do you go and do a pick foo? Which I know some people that recommend that, but there's a hole in that. Because yes, that can give you some good idea, maybe some good feedback, some good perspective of things you didn't think about that they see in it that you just kind of overlook because you're so close to it. But that doesn't mean they're going to buy it. So even though there's 50 designs and you run a pick foo or something else and everybody says, this is my favorite one, and it's by far the clear winner, then what do you do after that? Because that doesn't mean what people say and what people do are often two different things. And so how do you take it to that next level? It's a cool tool to do that, because if you have an idea conceptually, this is what the general audience thinks. But maybe the people who would actually buy this would have liked the fourth choice, not the first choice. The first choice looks the coolest. It catches their eye. It's all in how you prompt the people to vote, versus the fourth choice is the one actually the people that actually will part with their credit card would actually buy. So how do you work that part out?
So that's such a good question. And it's the same problem that people have whether they're developing a product with or without AI. And I have great examples of this because I've actually done this with clients now. And that's what I've been speaking on all these stages about. I've actually brought the products that I developed with AI with my clients on these stages to show people, right? So the first thing that I would say is, and you can use AI for this, but is to make sure that from the get-go, when you're first designing, when you're first coming up with your development, right, that you're basing that off of market research. You're not just going, oh, I think that the dog poop picker upper would be a good idea, right? I think that. You want to use market research. You want to look at, okay, what are people already? So for example, I have a client that sells chocolates. He has he is in New York City. They make their own chocolates every single day, premium ingredients, kosher, amazing products, right? And they sell on Amazon. They sell locally. They're really awesome. And he comes to me and he says, Amy, I want to compete with Godiva. Godiva is doing these little 4-pack of chocolates, right? And it's great for margins, right? Because I just got to put 4-pack in a box instead of put these big boxes of chocolates out, right? And, he comes to me with this idea of competing with Godiva. And he sends me some samples of, I love my clients that sell chocolates. I also love my clients that sell purses because I get lots of great samples. But so he sends me some samples, and the packaging that he's got it in is just a white box with like a gold foil with his logo on it, right? And I'm like, how is he going to compete with Godiva with this? So then I get to thinking of my AI, right? And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, let's think about the market. I always like to think about the customer and what they want. What would make the customer, a woman, let's say she's getting a box of chocolates, what would make a woman feel special? Like, what would make her go, ooh, wait, that's not Godiva, but what is that, right? So I thought, well, what are the little boxes that women love to get? And the box I thought about was the Tiffany box. Mm-hmm. The Tiffany box is iconic, right? Women cannot wait to have a Tiffany box. And I wish this podcast I could show you the mock-ups that I did. But basically, I used ChatGPT and I said, hey, I own a chocolates company. I'm selling these chocolates. I want to do a 4-pack. I want to compete with major brands. I want to design packaging for this 4-pack of chocolates that is based on the Tiffany brand, the Tiffany box, but make it for chocolates, make it for food, make it feel like a special experience. And ChatGPT, and of course, the part of the prompt that you must include is describe it in great detail. That is the part of the prompt you must include at the end because it will help you be able to use that output for image generation. So it came up with the most beautiful, incredible idea for a box. And I put that into a mock-up and I could not believe it. Like, okay, great, amazing. Now, what do? Now we put that in a PickFu poll. Now we put that into an audience survey. Or now even better, we actually go to market and do some market survey and go, hey, which one, let's do a taste test. Which one do you choose or which one would you choose here, right? So you can do surveys, you can do that. But first, you always want to start it with your market research. Same thing with this client that I did. We made wallets. So he's selling wallets. He's doing 7 figures on Amazon annually in wallets, in men's wallets. And there's nothing cool going on in the wallet space. And so I went back to the market research and I said, okay, what are men spending a lot of money on when it comes to leather? And they're spending money on this leather office, these mid-century modern office chairs, right? So same thing, went into ChatGPT. I said, okay, I sell leather wallets. The market's pretty saturated. I want to do something new and different. Help me come up with the design based on these mid-century modern office chairs, blah, 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 right? Comes up with this amazing design, and we come up with these wallets that have wood grain in them. And we take that to the supplier, and we actually get the supplier to make them. Then we put the made versions of it on PickFu, and we do multiple polls. We don't just do polls of, which design do you like the best, because that doesn't tell you anything. That doesn't tell you that somebody's going to buy the wallet with the wood grain over the classic black wallet that's already the bestseller, right? So we had to do multiple polls that actually said, which one would you choose and how much would you pay for it? And we learned that out of all the mock-ups, we did like a gray one with a pine wood color. We did a black one with like a darker kind of a cedar wood color. And that was based on that. I mean, that's the most expensive office chair you can buy is that color. And people said the 2 winners were one of the gray ones and one of the black ones. And people said they paid $20 for the gray one, and they said they pay $70 for the black one. So that's the difference in customer perception. And then we did a poll based on that black one with the wood grain versus just regular black wallets. And we learned that people still would choose the one with the wood grain on it. Some people still chose the black one, but there was enough for us to move forward with launch. So my advice there, Kevin, to wrap that up is just make sure you're designing based on market research, make sure you're validating, and make sure you're not over producing. Like, you're not spending so much money to produce it that it's not competitive anymore. You want to go to market with the wallet people will pay $70 for, and be able to sell it for $20 if you want to, so that people choose it every single time, and you can just, totally, rocket that launch and the amount of money and time that you can make with that product.
So has that product launched?
It's actually launching within a week. It's a listing's almost live. We just finished the images, all of that.
Interesting to see how that one does. With the new chat, was it 4.5 or 5.0? They're saying it should be out next year. Right now, most of the chat is text to image, but it's going to be image to text. So you're going to actually be able to do something along the lines of take the 10 best sellers off of Amazon, and it doesn't have to be just Amazon, it can be anywhere, and put in your take the 10 best dog pooper scoopers or whatever, have it read the reviews to see the pros and cons, and then come in, and if you want the dog pooper scooper to become in a Tiffany's box, upload a picture of a couple box samples, of Tiffany's boxes and other things, and then give it the prompts and say create something based on all this feedback here, and then it'll come up with a whole bunch of product designs based on what's existing, based on those images, what the people said they like and don't like, and where you're trying to get it to go. And when that happens, that's going to be pretty incredible. Then you can take that, do a PickFood poll, and then get feedback from PickFood, refeed that back into the same model, and have it redo it all again.
And the one thing I forgot to mention is don't forget about crowdfunding. When I'm thinking about my robotic dog pooper picker-upper for people's backyards, that's expensive. So we're talking about, are people actually going to put their money down for it? Well, I have visualizations of this product. I have all the components. I know exactly how it will work. I can build a Kickstarter page with that. I can build entire
prototypes before you actually can launch it, though, on Kickstarter now. They won't let you just do it with just 3D renderings and ideas. They actually now are getting some might slip by, but I just had someone on the podcast recently, Kristen, and she was talking about how they're really cracking down on, they want to see a prototype. You got to send them a picture with your phone, of a prototype, because so many people show renderings and people invest or spend their money and then they take the money and it never comes out. So they want to make sure you can actually execute. So that's a little bit of a roadblock there, but you can do advanced orders. What I've seen someone do on their own I think it was Shopify site, is they said, we're coming out with this robotic, it wasn't a robotic dog cleaner, but say it's a robotic pooper scooper. This is coming. This is what it looks like. Here's a cool little video that you've created, all with AI and everything. It's going to be $199. Put $25 down to reserve your spot. We're only making 1,000 of them initially. And I've seen some people launch and get proof of concept by doing that. Because someone's willing to put, it's same as it's a tripwire, $7 to get a PDF for something. It's showing that they're serious. And if they spend the $25, someone will drop off, but they'll at least tell you that, okay, people are actually willing to spend money for this. And that's the way you can actually do that and prove that. So if someone comes up with that kind of site, a new, actually I'm just brainstorming here. Well, maybe we should do this. Some sort of version of Kickstarter that's an Indiegogo that's actually that. New innovations coming soon. Which ones would you invest in? $25 to hold your spot instead of spending all that money. And it's refundable or something. You hold the money until the prototypes are made or something. So it's refundable. That could be a pretty cool little thing. So if someone's listening, don't steal that idea. I know there's my IP on that right away.
Kevin's going to edit that out. Well, and the thing is with the AIs now, we have like Dora AI that will build you a really awesome website from just an idea with really cool like animations. We're going to be able to bring websites to life in a matter of minutes compared to what used to take us sometimes months, weeks, or months before. There's so many cool things that are coming our way. And even with Midjourney now, you can upload an image and ask it to change it. I was at Wendy's with my daughter the other day, and she was eating a Wendy's Frosty. And I tried to take a picture of her because she's a teenager. She doesn't want me to take pictures of her. And so she just kind of did this kind of frowny smiley face thing that she does. And I told her she looked like the old man from the movie Up. When she made that face in the photo, I uploaded that picture to Midjourney and I said, put this in the movie Up. And sure enough, it cartoonized her. My daughter, I don't know if that's the word, cartoonized, made her into a cartoon and put her in that movie, like in a scene that looked like it could belong in that movie. And it was so cool, even holding the cup, the Frosty cup, all of that, and put her in the movie Up. So like, there's so many cool things you can do, even with that creativity. You know, we redesigned the garlic press. We took the top sellers of garlic presses and we put all the content into ChatGPT, and we said, you know, use all of this ideas and then think of something completely out of the box that would actually work better than the current garlic presses on the market. And it actually came up with some really cool ideas, and we developed a whole brand. I did that with my mastermind group. And then you know, we developed logos and website mockups, everything for this new kind of garlic press. And everybody after that session was like, okay, Amy, I'm going to go lock myself in a closet for 3 weeks and just play with this, you know, because it's so cool.
Well, some of the AI now too, like with your daughter with the facial frown, you could put her in that background, but then some of it will actually change that facial expression. You say, make it actually so she's smiling, or makes it so she's doing this. And then some of the other AI I've seen is pretty cool. I saw it they're doing it with animals like lions and stuff. They're turning its head. So if its head was faced at 30 degrees, like, no, I'd rather have the head faced at 45 degrees. You could type that in. It would actually recreate the picture with the lion at 45 degrees facing you instead of 30 degrees facing you.
And you can do that too with Photoshop's new Firefly. You can download Photoshop beta, right? And you could, so let's say you have a picture of a lion or whatever, right? You can actually just draw a circle around the head of the lion and put smiling, laughing, whatever, and it'll completely use generative AI to match the rest of the lion's body, but then change it to a different type of face. I use that for my A+ content because I had pictures of the product with somebody's arms kind of cut off at the corner of the picture. And so I just brought it in because I needed the banner for the A+ content. I brought it into Adobe's Photoshop with Firefly and used Photoshop beta for this. And I just circled the area around the arms that were cut off from that square photo that I brought in. And sure enough, it just filled it right in. So
yeah, you could do that. A lot of times you see people put pictures of people, like you're saying, something's cut off. You don't ever want to cut off an elbow in a picture. You know, some people that they'll cut the picture and you see part of the hand, but it just cuts at the elbow, and that actually is psychologically distracting. So you could use that same thing and just extend the picture 50 or 100 pixels or whatever and say, fill this in, and it'll put their elbow in there.
Yeah, I used, and you can actually, you know, it's on my Amazon listing now. I used Adobe's Firefly to put a cat in a superhero costume. And then I used Photoshop beta to put that cat in a banner for the top of my A+ content. And I selected that section behind the cat. And I said, put this in a comic book, like make it a comic book city behind this, right? And so it filled the whole thing in with the comic book city. And then I added the logo and, you know, that. And of course, got the ideas for what text to use, the titles to use. And, you know, ChatGPT recommended unleash the litter box hero in you. And then you've got the cat in the superhero costume with the comic book city behind it. I mean, the content that we're going to be able to create with our brands is just insane. I'm just loving it. And this is just dabbling, you know, I can't imagine being a full-on designer and really knowing this stuff like our friend Mark, right? Who's, you know, just really got that brain for design and photography. You know, what they could do with it is just
It's interesting too to see how when ChatGPT first came on the scene was November of 2022. Well, it's been around for a while, but when it really made its big, huge splash, and everybody, all these schools, and started banning it. Governments, offices, businesses started banning it. And it's interesting this fall when the new semester started back in August for a lot of people. So I'm on a lot of different newsletters, AI newsletters, so I follow it pretty closely. And it's interesting how a lot of them have reversed their tune. And it's like, okay, no, actually, these kids, actually, that was a mistake. We shouldn't be banning this. We need to actually make this okay, but approach and teach them how to properly use it and there's too many advantages here to just ban this. This is stupid. And so they changed their tune on it, and that's a good thing. It's because I believe if you're not in on this AI right now, you're going to be left in the dust. And you don't need to be super proficient at it, but you need to understand it. You need to follow it. You need to understand it. It is the future, not just in what we do as e-commerce sellers, but everything from cars driving to planes flying to robots in your house to it's going to permeate in the next 10 years. It's going to be as life-changing for us as the Industrial Revolution, as the invention of fire, as the invention of the wheel. It's going to radically change everything. We're going to look back 20 years from now and make a joke just like we do now. But us older people were like, remember when we had flip phones? Remember when there wasn't a cell phone? You had a pager and you had to go find a payphone, and put a quarter in to actually call your mom or call your business partner because there's some emergency. And all the younger people look at us like, what the heck's a payphone? What's a pager? What's a CD? It's going to be the same thing 20 years from now. We're going to be looking back. So pay attention to that. You're going to have another AI summit coming out in 2024, probably, right?
Yes, for sure. I definitely want to do it again and, up our game this time. I'm so proud of the first one we put together because, AI changes so quickly, but we've focused on broader concepts, like really teaching you how to fish instead of just saying, oh, here's a prompt that you can use in ChatGPT. I'm also proud to be one of the first to host an AI summit that covers multiple technologies and not just ChatGPT, right? So we covered everything from content to to prompting and all these different aspects. So it's pretty cool that it was my first content to ever get pirated. So I guess I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, that's a compliment.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really good. I'm looking forward to doing it again, but I can't believe how cool this is and how I just get to be like, I love doing the summits because I get to be a fly on the wall. I don't even speak at them. I just bring in all my favorite people who are doing the most amazing things and just sit and learn.
And you also do, you're involved in a lot of stuff. You're doing these conferences, you're selling, you're also leading trips, and you're really big on the sourcing side of things and helping people figure that out. You've run a couple of these sourcing in Mexico trips. That you got another one coming up in 2024. You've just led a group of people to China with your Amazing at Home China trip back in October. You're working on one for, I think, was it Jordan or Turkey or somewhere over in the Middle East? How the heck do you find time to do all this stuff? And why should someone actually even consider going on one of these trips?
Well, Kevin, the first time I met you in person was in China. And going to China really changed everything for my business. When you're sourcing, no matter where you're sourcing from, India, Mexico, anywhere in Latin America, anywhere in Europe, Turkey, Jordan, no matter where you're sourcing from, actually meeting your suppliers, meeting people in person really changes things in any business. We look at the relationships that we built, right? How long have you and I known each other now? And we're, we still have barely scratched the surface of what we can learn from each other, so it's really just game changing to actually go and see. And when you think about your communication with your suppliers, when you've actually stepped inside of a factory and saw how something was made, I was just in India in Firozabad, going through a glass factory, and these folks were making these really awesome vessels, vases, planters for Crate and Barrel, which is a major, retailer in the U.S. And to see these people in this factory, in these hot, huge, glass furnace, all these pieces of glass coming out, and then to actually make the designs on the glass, they're sitting there in their bare feet on the dirt floor, like manually cutting into this glass and manually polishing it and manually frosting it. And, to see that it changes the way that you communicate with your suppliers. It changes the way that you see and you think about your products being developed and made. It changes your partnerships. It changes everything. So I really would encourage people to stop standing on the sidelines of their business and their life and get in the damn driver's seat and go, just like AI, right? Get integrated, get immersed and learn this stuff, because it is going to change everything. It's going to make you an authority. It's going to help you understand things you didn't understand before. And so that's really it. You have this opportunity, in e-commerce, in the e-commerce industry, to travel the world like Kevin has done and, really see so many things and explore this life, and tomorrow is not promised. So that's why I would say, get out there, go to these events. When I first started, after I launched my first, my invented product and my brand, I made a commitment to boldly walk through every door that God opened for me. And I said, okay, I'm going to be the yes man. Have you seen that movie with Jim Carrey? Yes, right? I'm going to be the yes man. And I did that. And it was hard. It was hard and it was scary. But it changed my life. And I started going to all these events. I started meeting people. I started, swallowing my fear. I was so scared to go to China. I mean, I was in the military for 17 years. I was banned from going to that country. So for me, I was scared to go to China, but I swallowed that fear and I went, and damn, am I glad I did. So I would just encourage people to live your life, man, live it to the fullest, and you will be surprised at what the universe has in store for you.
That's awesome, Amy. If people want to find out more, follow you, or find out more about your mastermind, or about one of your upcoming trips to India or China or Jordan or wherever, Mexico, wherever it may be, what are some of the best ways to do that?
Yeah, so you can visit us at amazingathome.com. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. My alias on all those channels is @amazingathome. We have a free Facebook group as well. It's also called Amazing at Home. So we have a website for seller events called Seller Meetup. You can go to sellermeetup.com and check out the event schedule. And yeah, that's pretty much the best way.
Awesome. Well, I'll be seeing you in Hawaii in May for the $1 Billion Seller Summit. It's going to be awesome in Kauai. Have you been to Kauai before?
Yes, I used to live in Hawaii. So I lived in Hawaii before I moved to Texas, and lived there for 4 years. Lived in Ewa
Oahu,
Beach.
or which island?
Yep, I lived on Oahu.
Okay.
And Kauai, where you guys are going, is actually one of my favorite islands. That's the Garden Island. It has its own canyon, Grand Canyon, its own version of the Grand Canyon called Waimea Canyon. It's so beautiful, really beautiful waterfalls and parks. And the thing about Hawaii, if you ask me, of all the places that I've traveled and visited, Hawaii is one of my favorites, because Hawaii, that island, whatever island you're on, there's I think 5 of them. It has like a life of its own. It kind of breathes. I don't know how to explain it, but
each one's totally unique. There's a certain energy there. Every time I'm in Hawaii, I've been to Hawaii 10, 15 times, something like. There's just a certain. Some people say it's a vortex. If you're into those vortex kind of things, like Sonoma. And Arizona is one. There's several of them, but they say it is. But I don't know. There's something just about being in Hawaii that is very I don't know, you just have a different feel to you. So it's just I don't know what it is, but it's really amazing. It's going to be an awesome time. So that's going to be great to see you there. And I'm sure I'll see you at some stuff before then in Mexico or on a seller's cruise or on something. There'll be some event somewhere where we see each other. So thanks again for taking time today and sharing. This has been great. As you can tell, Amy's one of the sharpest people in this space. She really loves to give back to the community, really knows what she's talking about, and super passionate about products and AI and helping everybody have a chance to win at this amazing Amazon game. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back again next week with Keith, another great episode of the AM PM podcast. Don't miss that. And today, before we leave you, got some words of wisdom for you. Remember, people don't buy products or services. They buy outcomes. People don't buy products or services. They buy outcomes. Sell the outcome of your product or service and not the actual bells and whistles of it, and watch your conversion rates and your sales skyrocket. Have a great week. We'll see you again soon.